Hey guys, this is Ryan Boyer. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how I do speed paints. You can find the brushes I'm using in the description, and hope you enjoy. So generally when I start out, I don't really know the direction I'm going to take. I have an idea in my head. So here I'm kind of looking for things that feel kind of haunted house-like. So I'm making a bunch of shapes basically, trying to come up with something that's going to jump out at me. I'm stretching it around, duplicating the layer, kind of just drawing random shapes. Here I'm kind of like drawing some doors and stuff. There I duplicated the layer and set it to darken as a way to kind of combine some of the dark shapes. And now I kind of see what looks kind of like a hallway and something that kind of looks like a door. So I'm going to draw out the light that I see on the floor and use a marquee tool to kind of mark out the door area so that you guys can see what I'm seeing as well. Adding in some light on this door, pretty much redrawing it about 100 times. Now I'm adding some depth to the hallway. I'm not really sure still what's going to happen back there, but I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm drawing in some like marks for debris, maybe some like holes in the ceiling. Some of the bright spots on the edges of the painting kind of feel like holes in like a roof, so I'm just drawing in some more of those to make it feel a little more cohesive. And now I'm kind of drawing in like maybe a monster claw reaching around the door, something like that. Just trying to figure out what we can do with this piece. And I end up not really liking it, so I'm going to pull that out and try drawing in a person instead. Maybe something back in the hallway, some spooky girl or something like that. And I kind of like where that's going. I try like some claws, and it didn't really work. Maybe some light on her hair or something like that. And I'm going to try to figure out how this goes and pretty much redraw it a bunch. You can see I crossed it out there, and now I'm trying to adjust the colors. Working on her shape, like giving her feet and fixing her little spooky smock thing. I don't know what clothes spooky children wear. Adding in some light. I think the light's coming in from the top, so trying to add some light on the top of her shoulders and maybe her head. Trying to get her pose to feel correct. I'm kind of making it up here. I'm going to look up reference in a second because it turns out to be more difficult than I thought. I end up going and looking up reference for the girl from The Ring. Still working on her pose here. You can see it kind of looks like she's turned away from us, but my intention was that she was looking directly at the camera. So here I go looking up reference. Alright, got it. Okay, now back to this. Trying to fix the highlights. Okay, so the hair was wrong. Maybe adding in some arms. And that looks pretty good. So now it's just about detailing the background. Drawing in some lights on the floor. I'm trying to fix that thing in the ceiling, that big hole, so it looks like it's more directly over her. Trying to add something in the hallway to give a little more depth to it, like something between us and her. And I end up going with a painting. I think that works out pretty nicely, and then I kind of darken it after I draw it to knock it back. Now I'm figuring out what the light from the door looks like on the wall here. Honestly, I have no idea. You can see there I added some smoke behind her to kind of bring her out from the background a little bit. And some repeated smoke in the foreground and middle ground as well to continue to add more depth. So now I'm adding a little bit of color. I noticed that I didn't have too much time left, so I'm rushing here. So I'm going to start out with a base layer of blue. And then use a new layer on color dodge to try to add like a highlight color for the piece. And I end up settling with like a spooky blue. So adding blue to the rest of the piece, and then adding some kind of stuff to add a little more depth to that. So like some green, and the color dodge blends nicely. It gives it kind of like a yellow look too. The orange works out well to complement both of those, and it also works out really nicely in the background too. So I like where this is going. Now I'm adding some like molding and details and stuff in the foreground as well. Getting rid of like random highlights on the walls that shouldn't be there. Fixing the boards in the ceiling. You can see I just used the stretch distort tool to fix that painting because the perspective was wrong. And I duplicated it, and I'm using a second one to add a little repetition to the piece. Again, really just trying to push the depth here. Trying to figure out what to do on the wall closest to us. So I try using like a third painting. And turns out that that's too many paintings, so I end up deleting that. And I'm going to try drawing like a little spooky bookcase here for like 10 seconds. but I really have no time left, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to delete that, save it, and now it's really just about recropping it, adding a little bit of sharpen, and you're pretty much done. Usually what I'll do here is I'll come back later, and spend another maybe like 10 or 15 minutes or so with some fresh eyes. It'll help you find stuff you missed and generally kind of just clean it up real quick before you share it out. So subscribe for more content like this, tutorials and process videos. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of my work, and thanks for watching, guys.